Hello, it's been a while. How have you been? Welcome to today's Health Talk with I, Cecilia Kamau, your clinical nutritionist. Let's talk diabetes. How much do you know about diabetes? Now, first things first. Diabetes mellitus refers to a metabolic disorder characterized by high blood sugar levels and disordered insulin metabolism. It occurs when the body does not produce enough insulin, cannot use insulin effectively, or both. On the other hand, insulin is the hormone that helps glucose move from the bloodstream into the body cells where it is used for energy. Guys, did you know that one of the biggest challenges with diabetes is that many people do not know they have it? Globally, almost half of all the adults living with diabetes are undiagnosed. This is because diabetes can develop silently with mild or no symptoms in its early stages. Regular screening is therefore very important, especially for people at high risk. Friends, why should we worry about diabetes? Diabetes is something to really worry about because it is one of the silent killer diseases in that it can silently damage many parts of the body if it is not detected and controlled early. High blood sugar over time can damage blood vessels and nerves, leading to complications such as stroke, kidney failure, blindness, and foot problem that can result in amputations. Diabetes can generally reduce the quality of life and increase the risk of premature deaths. I repeat again, by saying early detection and proper management is very essential to prevent serious complications. Guys, in just a few, let's see what happens in our system in diabetes. First of all, muscles and fat tissues cannot effectively use glucose for energy. And the liver continues releasing glucose into the bloodstream. So, blood glucose levels rise, resulting in a condition known as hyperglycemia. The term that is used to denote elevated glucose levels in the blood, or rather high blood sugar, as most people call it. What are the warning signs for diabetes, or in other words, symptoms for diabetes? I will simply use or simplify this by drawing a chain of reactions throughout the body so that you can understand how things link for you to start feeling what you feel when you are in your early stages of diabetes. So when blood glucose rises above the kidney ability to hold it, what we call kidney threshold, and the glucose begins to spill into the urine. And now the glucose in the urine pulls extra water from the bloodstream into the urine, and so your bladder end up being full all through most of the time, and so you end up having frequent urination, what we call polyuria. So because of much water being drawn from the system to the urine, your body ends up being so dehydrated, and the next reaction is excessive thirst, what we call polydipsia. So there is more symptoms. Now, because the body's cells cannot properly use glucose for energy, weight loss may occur, hunger increases, what we call polyphagia, and fatigue develops as the body struggles to produce energy. The person also may experience blurred vision because or caused by exposure of high tissue to hyperosmolar fluids. And also frequent infections may the person may experience frequent infections due to weakened immune system caused by high blood sugar. And finally, there is persistent tiredness and weakness due to disrupted normal energy metabolism. Maybe we can summarize the symptoms into 3 P's for easy remembering: polyuria, frequent urination; polydipsia, excessive thirst; and polyphagia, increased hunger. If these symptoms are present, diabetes should be suspected and medical evaluation is important. Something else we should know is that having symptoms alone is not enough. Healthcare providers use blood tests to measure glucose levels and confirm whether a person has diabetes. The presence of obvious symptoms of high blood sugar, what we call hyperglycemia, will help to support the diagnosis. However, if symptoms are not clearly present, a second test on another day is usually needed to confirm the diagnosis. And there are 4 main tests used to diagnose diabetes. Your healthcare provider or professional may choose one or more of these tests to assess your blood glucose levels and determine whether you have diabetes or you are at risk of developing it. They may choose to have a random plasma glucose test. That's the first option, or option 1 that they can use. This tests measures blood glucose at any time of the day, regardless of when the person last ate. And diabetes may be confirmed when the results are random plasma glucose is 200 milligram per deciliter or 11.1 millimole per liter or higher, plus the symptoms which we have talked about. The other option, your healthcare provider may choose to test your glucose levels using the fasting plasma glucose test, what we call FPG test. For this test, a person must not eat or drink anything except water for at least 8 hours. And that's why this test is recommended early in the morning before you take your breakfast. So, and when the blood glucose level is measured, and the results are fasting plasma glucose level is 126 milligram per deciliter or 7.0 millimole per liter, or high, diabetes is confirmed. Remember, plus the symptoms that we talked about. The other option, your health provider could decide to use the oral glucose tolerance test. This test checks how well your body handles glucose. And so, first, a fasting blood sample is taken. The person then drinks a solution of 75 grams of glucose, and blood glucose is measured again 2 hours later. And diabetes is confirmed when the 2-hour plasma glucose level is 200 milligram per deciliter or 11.1 millimole per liter or higher. Remember, also plus the symptoms. The last option, or the last option here, your health care professional may use is a glycated hemoglobin test, where diabetes is diagnosed when glycated hemoglobin test is 6.5% or higher. This test mostly helps in assessing long-term blood glucose control rather than blood sugar at a single point in time. So when your healthcare professional wants to check how your body has been behaving in the last few months, they use this test to check. The last thing I want us to check before doing the dietary management of diabetes is the types of the diabetes that are there in the globe. My viewer, did you know that not all diabetes is the same? There are different types of diabetes and they develop for different reasons. We have type 1 diabetes, which occurs when the body's immune system mistakenly attacks and destroys the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. Probably you are wondering, how comes your body attacks your own cells? Yeah, it happens, and the reason could be environmental toxins. So your body is working to fight the toxins, and in the process it destroys your pancreatic cells. The other reason could be infection. You are having infection, and when the body is working to fight the infections, in the process it ends up accidentally attacking your pancreatic beta cells, which secrete insulin. And so that is why you end up developing this kind of diabetes, where you will be having insufficient insulin or no insulin being secreted from your cells. So as a result, people with type 1 diabetes must take insulin to survive. It commonly develops during childhood and adolescence, but it can occur at any age. And now we have the most common diabetes here, known as type 2 diabetes, which you and the other person mostly know. So this condition of type 2 diabetes, the body either does not produce enough insulin or cannot use insulin effectively. So if we contrast the two, type 1 and type 2 diabetes, in type 1, insulin is very little or no insulin is being secreted alone at all. But the cells that are supposed to receive the insulin are working. They have no any problem. And so if insulin is provided, it will work effectively, or the cells that receive insulin will receive or will detect the insulin. But in type 2 diabetes, insulin may be present, but it is not being detected by the cells that are supposed to detect it, and so the body ends up not using the insulin effectively. So type 2 diabetes is often associated with overweight, obesity, physical inactivity, and family history. It usually develops in adults, but is increasingly being seen in children and adolescents nowadays. The last type of diabetes we should know is gestational diabetes, which is the type of diabetes that develops during pregnancy. It occurs when hormonal changes during pregnancy make it harder for the body to use insulin effectively. Although it often disappears after delivery, it increases the mother's risks of developing type 2 diabetes later in life. Now finally, let us look at the diet management of diabetes. First and foremost, I want you to know that although the causes of these types of diabetes differ, and in as much as we have the different types of diabetes, one thing remains important for all of them: healthy nutrition. Diet is one of the most important pillars of diabetes management. A well-planned diet helps control blood sugar levels, support overall health, and reduce the risk of complications. The goal is not to eliminate all carbohydrates, the energy-giving foods, or to stop enjoying food. Instead, the aim is to maintain blood glucose levels within the target range, achieve and maintain healthy body weight, to prevent or delay diabetes complications, to improve overall health and quality of life. Now, the key for diabetes nutrition is balance, variety, and moderation. I hope you remember this when we were talking about nutrition, when I was introducing nutrition in my first health talks. We talked about characteristics of a nutritious or a healthy diet. So if you cannot remember, please go and check those health talks to remind yourselves. So a healthy diabetic diet should include whole grains and high fiber foods, plenty of vegetables, fruits in appropriate portions, legumes, nuts and seeds, lean protein sources, low-fat dairy products, and adequate water intake. In diabetes, A special focus is given to carbohydrate management. Why? Because carbs have the greatest effect on blood glucose levels. This does not mean avoiding carbs completely. Instead, choose high fiber carbohydrates. Spread carbohydrates intake throughout the day. Control option sizes. Here you really need the help of a nutritionist. Better choices: whole maize flour, brown rice, whole wheat products, tubers like sweet potatoes and arrowroots, and plant protein options could be beans, peas, lentils. You should limit sugary drinks, cakes and pastries, and highly processed snacks. The food that are highly being recommended here are the foods that are high in fiber. Why? There is a magic that fiber does in slowing the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. Fiber also helps in bettering blood sugar control, improving digestion, increasing fullness and satiety. Yeah, you know, after you have been done meal plan and portion controls, most clients or patients feel that the food that have been allocated for them is too little for satiety. But the secret is taking high fiber food, which will keep you full for some time. So even if the food will look so little for you to get full, the secret is high fiber. So with high fiber, you will feel full for longer periods of time. So also fiber helps in bettering cholesterol management by the body. Again, good sources of high fiber foods are vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains. Note that fruits are healthy but should be eaten in reasonable portions due to their natural sugar contents. Let us also remember that even healthy foods can raise blood sugar if eaten in excessive amounts. So it's really important to consider following portions control and meal plans developed and personalized by your nutritionist. This plate method can also accompany your portion controls and meal plan and supporting your meal plans. Some things that I want you to note is that meal timing is another crucial thing in diabetes. Regular meal patterns help maintain stable blood glucose levels. Avoid skipping meals because this can really disrupt your sugar levels. Do not stay for long periods without eating, as your sugar levels can extremely go low, causing other unwanted complications. Avoid also large overeating episodes. Aim for consistent meal times whenever possible. Lastly, physical activity works together with healthy eating to improve insulin action and overall health. Also, for people with overweight and obesity, modest weight reduction or modest weight loss can significantly improve blood glucose control. So guys, let's keep active, moderate daily exercise, 30 minutes or 60 minutes exercise. Yeah. As I wrap up, I want to know your thoughts on sugar and sugar alternatives for diabetes. What do you think of honey instead of sugar? What do you think of jaggery, what we call sukari nguru, and brown sugar or other natural sweeteners? Say, for example, a fruit as your sweetener. Hey, this is where the debate is outside there. I am going to advise this from a nutritionist expertise point of view. Honey contains natural sugars, mainly glucose and fructose. It raises blood sugar levels, although sometimes different from the table sugar. Some people think honey is safe simply because it's natural, but the body treats it as a source of carbohydrates. If used, it should be consumed in a small amount and counted as part of the carbohydrate intakes, just like sugar. Jaggery, brown sugar, or any other natural sweetener is also generally not recommended as a better alternative to sugar. Many natural sweeteners contain similar amounts of carbs and calories as ordinary sugar. They can still raise blood glucose levels significantly. Advice: use sparingly and do not assume they are diabetic friendly just because they are natural. What is recommended as a sugar alternative? Probably you are wondering. I'll give a few here. Stevia. I have some stevia here with me. Is a non-nutritive sweetener, meaning it provides little or no calories. It has minimal effects on blood glucose levels. It is considered safe for most people with diabetes when used within recommended amounts. It can be used as a sugar alternatives in sweetening tea, coffee, porridge, and other foods, other foods without causing significant rise in blood sugar. Other recommended sugar alternatives are aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose, which contain no digestive carbohydrates and can be used in place of sugar. Guys, now you know better. Allow me to end my health talk on diabetes there. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Please remember to subscribe to my social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Also remember to like the videos and share, because this is the knowledge that matters to us. Thank you. See you next time.